Under the protest, there was this color revolution. The United States tried to destabilize the race of China with this protest. And totally, I need to say that it was not a student protest. They just used the students to achieve what they wanted to achieve and also to bring troubles. More Italian people started to understand more what was going on in Hong Kong.
And quite clear that the national security law is necessary. Every country has these kind of things. It's important to have. I don't have any doubt, zero doubt.
Macau had this national security law approved many, many years ago, and the international community didn't say anything. It's not normal that, for example, you take the Chinese flag and then you burn this flag and you don't bear any consequences. If you try to do it in Italy, you will be arrested like the day after.
So I think that Hong Kong people and the mainland Chinese people has to find a way to live and work together because they are brothers, they are the same ethnicity. I don't go to the United States to explain my problem. I come to you as a brother.
Ciao a tutti, it's Key Bros. Welcome to the second episode of our new program called SOFTtalk, where unlike BBC's Hard Talk, the interviewees won't find it hard to talk. Today, we're very pleased to invite two guests from Italy. They are Stefano and Fabrizio. Just before we start, please remember to subscribe to our channel by pressing the red button below, like the video by giving a thumbs up, and also share it with all your friends and your family members. Right, so let's start with a short introduction of yourselves. I'll hand it over to Fabrizio.
Hi, my friend. I live in Hong Kong for many, many years. Arrived in 93. I spent 10 years in China. And now I run an investment company doing especially venture capital.
Thank you very much. And how about you, Stefano?
Hi, everybody, and how Key Bros. My name is Stefano. Also, I'm Italian. I'm also here in Hong Kong since 5 years, where I basically work and live here. Before Hong Kong, I also lived 1 year in mainland China, in Shenzhen. This is pretty much.
Nice. So which part of Italy do both of you come from?
For me, I come from La Spezia, it is Liguria, south of Genova.
And for me, it's pretty much the same because actually originally we are from the same region, which is Liguria, but I'm more from the western part, but I study in Genoa 5 years, yes.
Right, so since they both actually are currently based in Hong Kong, they can provide an even more personal and also in-depth first-hand experience of the current situation here. So let's start with the Hong Kong protests last year. So what are your views of the protests and how they have actually affected both of you?
They affect us quite deeply. At the beginning, when they start as a movement against extradition law, actually was a peaceful movement. So the people, they march in the street and there are in hundreds of thousands, 1 million. That was peaceful. And then suddenly, I think it was the 1st of July, when they attacked the Legico, the movement changed the face and became violent. This one where the trouble started, actually. After the 1st of July, for me, was rioters. I don't say terrorists, but, almost the same.
The experience and actually the things we are sharing, we are foreigners, but also we live here in Hong Kong. So our, let's say, opinion or our judgment is also from the inside, like externals. I mean, I totally agree with Fabrizio. Probably the protest started in a peaceful way, but at some point it became very violent. And we share the same opinion that, of course, the protest was totally made up. Under the protest, there was this color revolution because behind the Hong Kong protest, there are many interests. But of course, one of the major ones still and was the United States tried to destabilize the race of China with this protest. And totally, I need to say that it was not a student protest. They were trying to sell this idea abroad, but no, they just used the students to achieve what they wanted to achieve and also to bring troubles.
Thank you very much. So how have the media back in Italy reported on the protests? And also, do you know any people back in Italy, like the general population, what are their feelings on the movement?
Media in Italy, they report the news a lot. In terms of a quantity, they dedicate very, very large space. Almost every day, they report on the main channels, on the primary time, the news. But what they report, actually, they report something that is completely different from the reality, from what is happening here. Just to give you an idea, for them in Italy, these rioters, they call a freedom fighter. And all the time, on all the traditional media, this is what they express. But the point is this, the Italian population many years that doesn't believe completely in the traditional media. And fortunately, we have a network of alternative media is quite powerful. So I can say that people, they started to doubt about the story of the freedom fighters and they started to understand that maybe was some actors from other countries involved. As Stefano said, a clear color revolution was starting.
I totally agree with Fabrizio because the mainstreaming covered the protest quite a lot, but then they were not basically explaining exactly what's happening here in Hong Kong. But thank God also we have other alternative channels where also people were covering the protests in a different way. And more Italian people started to understand more what was going on in Hong Kong, and also the interest was behind basically the Hong Kong protests, because protests started last year, but we were already coming from previous contrasts between China and US, like with the trade war.
Thank you very much for sharing your opinion. And we'll move on to the very controversial Hong Kong national security law, which has just been enacted for less than a month. Now, Italy refused to join the UK, US, and many other countries to condemn China on the Hong Kong national security law issue on the United Nations Human Rights Council. So what are your views on the law?
Quite clear that national security law is necessary because in the basic law, in our mini constitution of Hong Kong, there was supposed to be the Article 23. Article 23 has never been implemented. The government lost almost 23 years. They tried, I think it was 2003, and then was rejected. So this part, the national security was not covered at all. Is important to have. I don't have any doubt, zero doubt.
Yes, also, in my opinion, it's very important to have it. I just want to remind like the audience or other people that will watch this video. For example, if we talk about one country, two systems, Macau had this national security law approved many, many years ago, and in the international community didn't say anything. So I don't know why about Hong Kong, especially after like a year of very violent protests, the international community needs to have some doubts or some critics. I made a comparison with Macau, but talking about other countries, every country has a national security law, and it's not normal that, for example, you take the Chinese flag and then you burn this flag and you don't bear any consequences. If you try to do it in Italy, you will be arrested like the day after, because there are like these kind of laws in order to protect the people, the residents, the foreigners living there, but especially the country. I think that for Hong Kong, it's totally fine to have it. We need to have it in order to protect Hong Kong.
So since both of you are from Italy, do you know if there are any national security laws in Italy as well? And how does it compare to the one in Hong Kong?
Actually, we do have, between the Western country, for sure, Italy is not the most complicated in terms of a national security law, but we do have, like if you trade a secret of a state or if you spy for another country, this is a normal crimes prosecuted everywhere.
And also they are against basically our constitution, and we have this kind of national security laws. Yes.
I'll ask a little bit more about Hong Kong since you live here. There's currently a sort of conflict between people and mainland China, also some of the people here in Hong Kong. How do you think the conflict can be resolved in the future?
The people has to find the balance, has to use the common sense, because this law is quite natural, normal. There is nothing strange. Every country has these kind of things. So I think that Hong Kong people and the mainland Chinese people has to find a way to live and work together, because they are brothers, they have the same ethnicity. If they have a problem, I come to you and I wanted to explain, my problem. I don't go to the United States to explain my problem. I come to you as a brother, my friend, so I have this problem. Can we discuss? So this is the approach that I expect the maturity going from both sides.
Also, I think that, yeah, people, especially here in Hong Kong, should be more mature, and in case they have some problems, to talk openly, but not to sell themselves to the enemy. I think in Hong Kong, people should have less hatred and less fantasies about mainland China or Chinese people. If you don't know mainland Chinese people, don't try to judge them based on rumors or something that you don't really know. Just go there, travel there, see what is happening there, other people, talk to them, and then you will have your own judgment. There was another problem that sometimes the international community, or especially the United States, at some point like try to picture China as a monster, but it's not really like that. And I don't know why some local people can buy this idea. They should talk more, they should be a little bit more open, and then in case they just should go travel to mainland China and see the things with their own eyes.
Right, so let's take a break now, and here's the end of part 1 of a 3-part series. In part 2, we will be discussing Italy's relations with China, the Belt and Road Initiative, i.e. the BRI, and also China-US relations, which will affect Italy's membership in NATO. So please stay tuned and see you in the next part. Ciao, ciao, arrivederci.